Whoa! Oh, hello. How you doing, Jess?
I'm doing pretty well. I see your background there.
Ew. Thank you all for joining in. This is MaltyMaldy and Jessica Lindstrom with the GCA. Today, we will be talking about The Little Mermaid, 1989 version, not Squawkwafina's version. And for our special guest today, get ready, boys. We've got everyone's favorite darling, Sonya Lysette.
Hello.
Vibe with it for a second.
You're right. I can't get over it.
How are you doing today, Sonya?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
They're pretty darn good.
Heck yeah. Love to hear it.
All right, so shall I get into our topics of the day?
Let's do it.
Do it now.
Okay, so here's gonna be my first question. When did you first see The Little Mermaid, and how did it impact you as a kid? Like, what made you like the film and all that jazz?
So, I actually did not watch The Little Mermaid as a kid. I watched it fairly recently, within like the most recent, like about the past 3 years or something like that. So it was okay. I liked it. So I can't say that really impacted me as a child, unfortunately, but I definitely can understand why it's so beloved. I can understand why a lot of people really love the characters from this movie, why they respect them, why they hold them at such a a high standard, whatever, because it was really charming. And that's what I love about the older classic Disney movies, is they're just charming. They're fun to watch. They're cute. Everybody can watch them together. It's just something for everyone. And so I want to say I watched it in 2021.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, post-COVID.
Dang, girl.
I know. I really liked, I'll be honest, the Disney movies that I liked were the animal ones. So any of the movies with the animals, I was there. I was there for all of them.
You hear that, Tobias? She's into the furries.
But the Disney princess movies, I didn't really care to watch them. I just was never into the whole Disney princess thing. So yeah, but I definitely liked the movie. I thought it was really charming.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was a little girl, and it was a good couple years after it came out, and it was on VHS. So I was still, I mean, and I liked it as a kid, but it wasn't like my favorite. But I did enjoy it because, pretty colors and all that stuff. But my favorite was like Beauty and the Beast and whatnot. And
okay,
I like that a little more. But yeah, that's me.
I think. Well, we did a history stream on another thing where I talked about my ancestry, and one of them is a pirate. I think my grandparents were also pirates because somehow we had a recorded VHS of it with no commercials, but it wasn't licensed.
Wow.
Oh.
So I just watched it at my grandma's house over summer vacation, pretty much over and over. I watched it a lot.
Look at you.
Yeah. And how old were you when you saw it?
Wow.
I would say around between ages 6 to 8. That videotape basically got worn out.
Yeah, they would. Oh my God!
I watched it a lot, and as kids, we didn't have cell phones or even computers until 1994 anyway. So, or not MS-DOS computers actually have Gateway 2000 and Microsoft, but we would spend all our time watching movies when we weren't outdoors. So
Oh,
we would
yeah.
watch movies 2 or 3, 4 times in the same day, just hit it on repeat, put it in a little fast rewinder, and then start it over again.
Did you guys ever do the thing where there's a part that you love in like a VHS that you just have to rewind it several times to watch it over and over again?
No, we just watched the whole movie over and over again because back then movies were better.
Me and my brothers, we loved the movie Three Ninjas, and we would.
Oh my God, my best friend and her brother love that movie too.
Love that movie, and there's so many funny things in it that you just had to rewind, and but it's not like a DVD where you could just you actually had to like wait for it to go and do its thing, and
you would
it took so much time, but it was so worth it because we just watch it over and over again and just laugh and laugh.
Oh my God!
Have you ever heard of a movie called Surf Ninjas?
Love Surf Ninja.
No.
Oh, we watched it 6 times in one day on a summer evening.
I love Surf Ninjas.
You have no sense of duty or honor. You have no sense of humor. Okay. I don't know why that sticks out to me, but I think Leslie Nielsen's in it.
Oh, and Rob Schneider. He had like red hair in his first movies.
Wow.
He was so young in it.
Jeez.
yeah, I totally remember that movie. That was another one. Play on repeat. Like those classic fun movies. Disney and those just silly action kid comedies. That's where it was at.
Yeah.
That's where it was at.
Yeah. Well, okay, now how about let's go into any like themes that stood out to us in The Little Mermaid specifically, like if there's anything that really, hit you in the feels or, you just noticed more above all the rest, anything like that.
Well, I can understand. I think one of the biggest things for me in the movie was how much King Triton loved his daughter. Like he really thought that what he was doing was the right thing for his kid, and it's hard because, when you're a kid, you don't see that.
A teenager for that matter.
Exactly. Especially a teenager, you don't understand the real world. You don't understand, real principles and things like that. Mm-hmm. The protection that your parents are trying to, give you. All you see is my mom won't let me do this. My dad won't let me do this. They're controlling and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Where really he loves his daughter so much and he wants to protect her and he thinks he's doing the right thing. And I'll be honest, like most of it I agreed with him with. I'm like, yeah, that's right. You get her. Like, yeah. Like, no, this ain't happening. But it's hard because I love how they showcased, even for King Triton, that he had such a humble heart. He went to Sebastian as like, did I do the right thing? Like, am I being too hard on my daughter? So like, he's trying to, be a parent and be loving and supportive, but at the same time, he's just like, it's my way or the highway kind of thing,
Yeah, I need to protect you from these humans because they're dangerous.
You're right, exactly.
I'm trying to tell you, girl. And she's like, no.
She's just like, no, but Daddy, I love him.
Typical teenager.
Exactly. So I would say that was probably the biggest thing that stood out to me about it was King Triton's love for his daughter.
Yeah.
That was the love story for me.
Yeah,
I know there was another love story in it, but for me.
I like the father-daughter dynamic too a lot because I'm close with my dad too, so I'm like, oh, so that made me be like, oh, like I related to that
Exactly.
but I wouldn't be like Ariel. Don't be like, whatever. I'd be like, okay, Daddy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I trust you. Like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, but they did
Well,
really well with making her very teen, which was their goal. They were like, we wanted to make her a teenager, and they did.
They definitely did.
so,
Yep.
so a lot of the things that I saw, and people want to talk about identifying with folks that don't look like you or even have your same parts. I identify with Ariel because I went through that rebellious stage around that time of my life. And my dad at the time came across as extremely harsh. I knew he cared, behind the scenes. He just didn't let it show. He was like, no, you need to follow the way that I'm trying to do the best for you. And I was like, no, screw you. I want to play metal. I want to
Right.
go off and do this. I want to go experience this.
Right.
Not, and we just butted heads all the time. Not because he didn't care, just because he didn't understand where I was coming
Yeah.
from. And so I see a lot of that with her, and what I didn't see with my dad, and Ariel doesn't see from her dad, is whenever he does have to get sterned, as soon as the tension is broken and they're not around each other anymore, he's just like,
He's like, oh,
am I doing
Yeah.
the right thing?
He's
It's like, I
like,
care
exactly.
about her. I love her, but like, she
yeah.
just sees me as authoritative and
Yeah,
she's
he's being
being
a
young and
dad and
brash.
being like, oh, was I
Yeah.
too mean to her?
He's like,
Am I
like,
doing this right?
how do I do the nurturing and
Yeah.
do the, like the harsh?
Yeah.
Well, he
How do
kind
I
of
be
has
dad
to because there's
and
no
be like
woman
a
in the
mom?
house or in the sea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she
He's
just has her
king.
sisters. She just
Yeah.
has her other sisters with her, and that's it. Like, you don't really know what happens to her mom, obviously. There's a lot of, the Disney films that's like one parent is always missing. And it's like, what happened to them?
Honestly,
It's like, couldn't we like kind of find out what happened to her a little bit? I mean,
yeah.
it is
Well,
what it is.
you're trying to tell a concise story. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
cool 84-minute film.
Yeah.
There's no lag. There's absolutely no fluff,
Mhm.
and you're trying to tell this specific story, and it gets across the points that it's trying to, and that it's meant to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and keeping it safe for the whole family to watch, which is
Exactly.
something
Yeah,
we'll get
and
into later.
yeah. Which I will have something to add to that later too. So now let's move on to the kind of the funner parts. How about favorite characters?
Well, I would definitely have to say King Triton is one of them, just because I love the father, like you said, the father-daughter dynamic.
Yeah.
Like he's got such an authoritative role, but he's also trying to be that loving, nurturing father to his youngest daughter, because she's the youngest of all of them.
Yeah, she is.
So, his other daughters are, doing just fine. He feels like he still has to look out for the youngest. And he's trying to really balance, being the king and being a father.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Single dad syndrome.
tough. That's tough. So I respect
Yeah,
his character a lot, because
yeah.
he's really, and then he shows growth towards the end of the movie too. Like he stops wanting to protect her and hold on to her for as long as he can. He's like, you know what? She's got to make her own life and make her own choices and whatnot, and lets her go, essentially, like most fathers have to. So that just really stood out to me.
There's also a portion of that where so when Ariel I almost called her Belle. When Ariel starts out, she is basically like the grass is always greener somewhere else,
Yes.
because like, I know this, I'm protected and sheltered here, but I want to find out more stuff.
Right.
And then once she makes the deal with basically an allegory for the devil in Crossroads, where she sells her soul, but then there's always a catch to it. Anywho, we can get into that later if you want. But she actually has to try and fail, and things are taken away from her, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows on the other side. She has to fight for it. So she
Right.
kind of grows up pretty daggum quickly, even though she's still 16.
Yeah.
And once her dad sees that, and also sees the kind of man that she fell in love with, she's like, I'm ready to let her go too. Because at first he was very excited that who's the lucky merman that
Right,
Ariel has
yeah, he
fallen in love with. He
was.
wants her. He wants her to be happy with another man. He just didn't want to be a human until that human proved his value, that they're not all that bad.
Yes. And
Right.
that's what had to be proven there too. Yeah, he also had to prove that he was not bad like Triton believed all them to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is totally understandable whenever they're catching them in nets, and God knows what is happening and what's happened in the past with them being killed either for sport or for food or to put in Ripley's Believe It or Not. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they did what they did.
Yep.
All right. Well, how about a favorite song or scene, even like combination of song or scene?
French Chef.
The French.
I
That
was
guy
going to say
really is
Under the
funny.
Sea, but the French Chef one is
Oh,
ooh la
I-
la.
He is funny.
I would definitely have to say Under the Sea. I mean, that's the staple of The Little Mermaid. Anytime you see
really
Little
is.
Mermaid, somebody's gonna jump behind you and be like, "Under the sea," you know it. You know,
Oh yeah.
that's definitely, and it's just fun. Like you were saying earlier, like the colors are, it's just bright and fun, and it just made you want to be under the sea. You know, like, hey, I want to go there. That looks fun.
And all
Oh,
men know it's
yeah.
better down where it's wetter.
Oh, see.
Ew, ew.
Oh my God.
It's happening.
Oh God. And Under the Sea is a good one too, but I did also like Part of Your World because I liked her grotto and full of her little knickknacks and
Yeah, that was
funny
cute.
little things.
Jess, you know what I thought on a rewatch today? When
What?
she's in her grotto and it has all the shelves, it reminds me of the giant bookcase. Those aren't her books. Those are, you know,
Well, they
almost like
kind of are like
Belle's
her
books are
book.
like imagination and fantasies of another world that she's not living in
Yeah.
the same almost allegorical way than all those pots and pans and dingle hoppers and all that stuff is Ariel's bookcase to a world that she hasn't and can't explore yet.
Yeah, it's true. There are things from a world that she is very ignorant to, does not yet know much about. That is very true.
But wants to.
Yeah, but wants
But
to.
is fascinated with it.
Yeah. Which, did they ever really, I don't know, did they explain why she was so fascinated with the human world? Like,
Probably because it wasn't humdrum. She thought for
Yeah.
herself. She liked to go explore and adventure, and she's like, what is this other stuff? This isn't a contained bubble.
Yeah, and then
There's
talking to
more out there.
Scuttle. And then talking to Scuttle and him saying,
yeah, that's
"Oh, this is what's coming
yeah.
coming with these crazy names for the thing like the fork and it's like and
What
saying,
is-
"Oh, they brush their
that?
hair with it." I'm like,
He gives himself an afro.
yeah.
Single hopper.
Oh, that guy.
And the fact that he's probably seen sailors do that because they just go crazy on the wild seas, called like seasickness or something. It's like there was
Maybe.
probably one person who was just like digging on his scalp with a fork, and he was just like, "That's what they used that for."
Or maybe one of them had a bit of lice and they were like picking it out.
Oh, good lord. Oh,
Could probably be.
Because it was in, I think the original I think was written in like the 18th century around, I think. So it would have been pretty living on a ship for a few months is not pleasant.
yeah.
It really is not pleasant.
I'm actually surprised nobody mentioned Kiss the Girl.
Oh, yeah, that was, that
Yeah.
is cute. And Scuttle singing sounds just like me. That's how I sound.
Right, so since we're bringing up this song, this is what I wanted to bring out, Jess, about why Hollywood is so absolute dog shit at adapting and writing new material, because they made Squawquafina in the new Little Mermaid.
Oh,
That part of Scuttle from Kiss the Girl, the entire movie, it was played for comedic effect, but then it's like, oh, this is funny. Let's do it for 3 minutes straight. It's like, no, that's not how comedy works. You've overstayed your welcome. And it wasn't funny in the beginning. So whatever.
Scuttle had his role.
he
He was
did.
just there to teach Ariel all the wrong things.
Yeah, but with a good heart.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He was,
Absolutely.
he told her what he knew.
I love
Okay.
he tells her, he's like, have I ever been wrong? And they're just like looking at him. He's like, I mean when it's important.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Now that is a funny scene. That was funny.
I love that. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then Poor Unfortunate Souls, like,
That is some.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's my number 2 song.
yeah, that one, man.
It's so
Ursula.
well written. Freaking Alan Menken not only composed the score, but also the lyrics for all those songs.
He did.
That dude don't miss. Sorry, ABF. There can be more than one sharpshooter in here.
But for different reasons.
Yeah, that was such a fun scene. I mean, I know it was, like it was a song sequence, but like seeing Ursula like transform into like this freaking evil being and like conjuring up this like really diabolical like spell and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost it's a lot, because she's just purely evil at that point.
Yeah, and even seeing her eyes in that one part where she's like, she really has that crazy evil look in her eyes.
Yeah.
Like when she goes sing.
Exactly. Oh, she had like what did she have? Like those spirals.
The bloodshot. Yeah, the red bloodshot spirals.
Yeah. I was like,
okay, I guess so.
Sure. But like when they first introduce Ursula, you kind of get a sense of like why she's bitter, why she's, the way she is, why she was banished,
Mm-hmm.
But I tend to sympathize with the villains a lot. So it's like, who hurt you? What did they do to make you become this way? Let me see if I agree. So you kind of understand where she's coming from and like what's going on. Now, is it right? No, but it's
I understand that. Yeah.
So to go from seeing her like, oh, when I was in the palace, to just being like, sing, was quite the transition.
You're like, yeah. Now we know why.
Right.
Kooky.
Mm-hmm. How much of that garden did she cultivate while she was living in the palace?
Right.
Because she says she's always had the magic.
Yeah.
It's like something she's always been able to do, but like what was she doing? That's probably what got her banished.
Yeah.
That
was quite the garden.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite the
garden.
Yeah.
Man, when those things are like jump up trying to wrap around Ariel's hands.
Oh, I know. They're trying to like grab her.
Oh my gosh. And she's like
One thing I do love about old Disney stuff, there are like horrific aspects, like things that will stick to you as a kid, both for men and women.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are things that are pure, and there's always an evil and something that's scary.
Yeah.
So it always shows you both sides. It's not like one or the other.
Yeah. Which will bring us to our next topic, Malty.
There we go.
Here we go.
Are you ready? Sonya, can you read?
It says, why does Ariel in 1989's The Little Mermaid get so much hate? Back in 1989, reviews for The Little Mermaid were almost universally glowing. Critics liked the music, the animation, and the feeling of revival. The characters also earned praise, particularly the titular heroine, Ariel, wrote Roger Ebert in a representative review, was a fully realized female character who thinks and acts independently, even rebelliously. Fast forward to 2023, and while The Little Mermaid remains a popular entry in Disney's cartoon library, Ariel faces less generous critics. There's a common charge? Is that charge or change? Charge, yep. Charge leveled against her and her film by angry Princeton students, concerned mothers, and even Halle Bailey in promotion for Disney's latest remake. Ariel surrounds her voice and her life for the sake of a man she doesn't know who fulfills all her dreams. It's a well-known argument.
Full stop. Come on now.
Yeah,
Princeton students. All right, a bunch of... they obviously are employed by Big Fig. Shout out Jeremy. And then Halle Bailey in your failed new movie. It's all for the sake of a man she doesn't know. It's way more than that if you paid attention to the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't look for the deeper meanings and things. They just see like a surface level thing and then they like nitpick it and be like, this is what they were trying to do. Oh my god, no consent, blah blah blah.
And that's why Disney fucking sucks nowadays, is because it's only surface level.
The Little Mermaid isn't the only Disney movie to have the perception and memories of its critics supersede reality. The animated Cinderella is still dismissed as a hollow damsel waiting on a prince to save her, even though she stands up for herself, doesn't set out to meet a man at the ball, and has a hand in her own rescue. The animated Jasmine explicitly stated in 1992 that her conflict was her life being decided for her, which shouldn't stop the live-action Aladdin's producer from claiming it was that she wanted love. But unlike Cinderella, The Little Mermaid is still still a relatively young movie that many of its critics would have grown up with, and unlike Jasmine, Ariel is the main character. And her words and actions throughout the film so thoroughly refute the idea of her as a simplistic lovesick girl that children should be wary of emulating, that the disconnect between perception and material feels all the greater.
Thoughts? With a UGH and not just a THOTS?
All these damn thoughts.
I am one of them, and so are you.
Oh my god.
I mean, this sounds like people that are just looking for things that are wrong with these movies. Like, it's deeper than that. You know, it's actually, like I was saying earlier, it's such a charming story. And like, again, for me, it was a dynamic of a father and daughter, you know, and yes, of course, you know, she's in love and she wants to, you know, be in the human world, but it doesn't even seem like they're concerned with her wanting to be in the human world. They're just like, I don't know, they're just looking at things from such a shitty perspective. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you can cuss here. I've said motherfucking already.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay.
But no, and then another thing that I noticed that has been recent is they really have a problem with love.
Yeah.
They're like so against it, and it's like, wow, really? It's kind of baffling. It's just like, wow, what's your problem? Do you have no soul? Which apparently they don't.
I mean,
no, they don't.
That term, that simplistic lovesick, it just sounds like somebody who's been hurt way too many times and is just trying to project it in an
Their soul was sucked out with the first fetus they killed in college.
Exactly.
Well, that went dark.
Well, I'm just tired of these people who don't have a fucking brain in their skull.
I know.
It's annoying and frustrating.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, and like they're comparing characters like they're different stories.
Yeah,
What
they
the
are
hell? Like
completely different.
they're completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Here she is with her dingle hopper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
I'm
how
gonna impress him by combing my hair in front of him. Prince Eric may open The Little Mermaid, but once the brief prologue aboard his ship is over, the first act of the film is squarely focused on Ariel. Initially, she's built up off-screen. We learn that she's a musical prodigy, that she regularly blows off rehearsal and even performances if something else is on her mind, and that she's both the apple of King Triton's eye and the bane of his existence with her misbehavior. I disagree with that. A relationship that is explored in the lesser-known third movie of the Little Mermaid trilogy, not canon, fuck off. When she finally appears, Ariel quickly confirms her attention issues, being so focused on retrieving artifacts from a shipwreck that she misses the approaching shark. But she also demonstrates courage and ingenuity in outfoxing the shark to save Flounder.
That is true. She does.
Yep.
Quick on
Poor
her feet,
Flounder.
or quick on her fins.
Yeah, and poor Flounder. He's just so like, oh my god, I don't want
Gotta
to
get in trouble.
Oh, no.
He's like Chonk from the Goonies.
He's like
Oh.
That's what
Chicken from the
Flounder is.
Rugrats.
Yeah, he is like Jack.
Maybe this isn't such a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know if we should be doing that.
A new viewer might wonder why such courage and ingenuity were needed to obtain a fork, or why silverware was worth blowing off your solo. But to Ariel, forks are an exotic piece of a world she's long been fascinated by. Her grotto is stuffed with every human object she's ever found, and she wants to learn about all of them. So what if all her information is faulty, courtesy of the well-meaning buffoon that is Scuttle the seagull? She's making the best use of her available sources.
All right, I want to touch on this. Why silverware was worth blowing off your solo. She has, according to them, one of the most amazing voices.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really what she cares. She sings for fun. She sings like from the soul, not for grand production. She doesn't give a crap about that. What she does give a crap about is learning about stuff from a world that she's fascinated by and doesn't know anything about.
Yeah.
I mean, they touch on that in the next sentence when they say, but to her, the forks are an exotic piece of something that she's been fascinated by for a long time. So it's just like, it's like, I don't know if I should say obsession, but she's just like overtly curious about, I want to know about this.
Well, and she doesn't care. Like, she's not trying to be like the next Mariah Carey or anything like that. She doesn't care about singing as a career. You know, she does it because it makes her father happy, you know, and, you know, that makes him look good as the king, you know, to have a daughter that has just this amazing voice. But that's not what she's passionate about. You know, she's passionate about this world that she can't be a part of, you know, or that she thinks she can't be a part of. She's passionate about learning about all the culture. And I mean, the fact that she even had books down there in her grotto or whatever, like all of the things that she found, she has pictures and books and still has no idea what to expect. It's just like, she's so curious and she's just really longing for a world that's not hers. It's just, you know, like, I get that. I totally understand why her dingle hoppers and her thingamabobs are more important, because that's what she's passionate about.
Yeah, that's her passion, wanting to know about.
Yeah, wanting to know more.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Look where we are. We're going to move it on now to someone who is near and dear to our hearts. She is a great part of our community and a lot of people's communities. But we might take some umbrage with some things that she has said recently. Jess, you can go ahead and take this off. Well, don't take that off, but you could go ahead and take off with this.
Yeah, I saw this the other day. Love horror Murata. She does have some good takes a lot, but this one, I mean, in some parts, I was like, okay, but then in other parts, I'm like, girl, but it's all right. We still love her anyway. So she was going on about how the Disney version of Little Mermaid is, oh, as she's going to put it here, a weak bastardization of the real, the original story by Hans
Mhm.
Christian Andersen. And it was never, and she's saying here, it was never meant for the love of the man. It was because she desired to have a soul and eternal life after death, even after death. In the end, she didn't get it, but was given the chance to earn it because of her willingness to sacrifice herself. And then she's going on to say that it's that Disney kind of weakens the story and like spares kids trauma. And so it kind of, keeps them from seeing or like learning a lesson, I guess you would say. And then her last line here is saying like Disney is part of why we have so many anxious people who need rooms to cry in at work. I don't really necessarily agree with that, but let's just have a little chat about this, shall we?
Yeah.
The two things that I highlighted are the only two parts that I disagree with. However, I vehemently disagree with those two parts.
Yeah. I mean, the original story was really tragic.
See, I don't know the original story.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't know it.
Yeah.
So this version, the Disney version, everybody knows more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's something also. So, Little Mermaid was one of the first in the Disney Renaissance. Arguably, it started with The Great Mouse Detective. But Little Mermaid was one of the first that started the resurgence that took Disney out of going bankrupt. And look what they learned.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Bob Iger. But the thing is, to make family friendly films that still teach lessons, like of course you're not going to take a Grimm's fairy tale and put from the page directly to the screen because they almost all end bleakly.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want your kids to be like, no matter what I do, a witch is going to burn me in an oven, Hansel and Gretel? It's like, there's almost never a happy ending, and but you could still learn lessons with there being happy endings, and that's another thing. I'm sorry for going on a rant a little bit, but whenever you're adapting from prose to the screen, you have to take artistic license.
Yeah.
You have to make it palatable for the masses. That's the way that you get people to. Maybe once they're an adult, you put in a couple of hidden adult jokes that aren't too bad. It still keeps your movie G. But when you rewatch it as an adult, yeah, you actually you go back and rewatch and you're just like, oh, I get that now. There was subtext.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, and in the original Little Mermaid story, I will spoil it here. She does meet the prince, but he marries another. Well, he marries a human princess, and because he believes that she's the one who saved him and not the Little Mermaid, and so the Little Mermaid obviously is devastated, and then her sisters come. And they had cut their hair. They gave it to the sea witch to get this dagger. And they're saying, all right. And they give her this dagger and they say, you need to kill the prince because you need human blood so you can become a mermaid again and come back and live with us. Be a mermaid again. Well, she was going to go kill him, but she just couldn't do it. So she kills herself and turns to sea foam.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's the original story. And another aspect of it, when she was a human, whenever she'd walk on land, it was very painful. It was like daggers stabbing into her feet.
Oh my God.
So it actually was pretty dark and a lot of
brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. So it did not end too happily.
No.
Yeah, take your kids to the theater to see that, and then they'll need rooms at work to cry in because they've been fucking horrified.
yeah, that sounds awful. But like, again, like, why would you portray that in a film that's meant for kids? Like, you can't, obviously. Like, so I mean, oh, that's
Respectfully disagree. I love Horror Murata. She's awesome. I just respectfully disagree with some of her points.
Yeah, it's just, during those days, it was a lot different, a bit more bleak, you could say. So their stories, obviously, yeah, they're meant to teach lessons to kids and everyone. So, and it was just different how they went about doing it. And, in this case, like I was watching a documentary on how The Little Mermaid was made today, and they basically wanted to make it appeal to the masses. So they
right.
made it more palatable, more enjoyable
Mhm.
for anybody. And one of the I think, was it one of the directors or one of them was saying, like, we weren't even thinking about like boys or girls enjoying this. We just wanted to write a good story that
Yeah.
people could enjoy. And that's what they did. I mean this was literally the movie that brought them back, because their old animation studio that Walt and all of them were working in for so long, like until the 80s, like they were kicked out of it, and then they had to go to this like they were like, I guess you could kind of see like warehouse trailer park like area. But oh, and then Glenn Keane, he is freaking amazing, this man.
I
his
was going to let you talk over and finish your point
his
and just have this in the
drawing,
background.
yeah, his drawing style, I just am so fascinated watching him draw. And actually, with them moving to those more warehouse, like animate the warehouses to animate it, it was almost like a blessing in disguise, actually, because they ended up really producing amazing work in there. So it was actually almost good that they were kicked out of the original studio, because they couldn't afford it. And then I think another like movie studio was going to like take it over or whatever. Man, and oh man, then I just love, again, I just love watching Glenn Keane draw, because he's freaking amazing. And he actually based Ariel off his wife a little bit. He's mentioned before. So I thought that was cute.
That's adorable.
Yeah,
His
he
wife
kind
was
of
16 years old.
no. Oh my gosh, multi animators. And if you see the guy who voiced Scuttle, like they made Scuttle kind of look like him. Like they would always make the characters kind of look like the
The voice
person who's
actors.
voicing them. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what's her face? Jodie Benson was actually in a Broadway play, so she could sing also. So it was like a double whammy that they had her being able to play the part of Ariel, where she could sing and also, do the speaking parts.
Did she do the speaking as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she did both.
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah,
I definitely
yeah.
knew she did the singing aspect of it, but I didn't
Yeah.
know that she was the original voice actress.
Well, she did the speaking parts too. Yeah, he's just, oh my god, I freaking love Glenn Keane. And like when he left, it was like, oh, what? Oh god. Yeah, he did Ariel. You know what? There's this one they did a private screening before they're going to release the full film, and it was hit, and he had animated the entire part of your world scene, and they were showing it to kids to see how the kids would react to it. And one of the kids dropped a popcorn bucket in the middle, kind of like in the middle of it, and they were going, oh, and the kid was like distracted, picking up, and they're thinking, oh my god, and some of the kids looked a bit bored, and they're like, oh my god, these kids don't like it. And so they literally almost canceled this film because of that.
Oh wow.
They're thinking, oh my god, nobody's gonna like it, oh my god. But then they ended up having like adults see it, and they rewrote some scenes and changed, but in the end, they this one really helped them come back, because it did very well in the end, which was good because, then from then on, they could make those other films that came after this. So it was it was a very good time for them. And Roy Disney was still alive. So that was nice. And they actually had a lot of talented people involved.
Yeah.
Passionate, talented people.
That's where what I was gonna say was passionate, because you can have talent, but if you don't have passion for what you're working on, it's not going to be the best quality, and it's going to show the work. I will say one thing with the tweet earlier that I think is like, when that movie came out, those kind of conversations weren't really being had. Those kind of conversations weren't discussed. So it wasn't as, I don't want to say important, but like, that wasn't the main focus for a lot of people. When these movies came out, it was simply, let's go to the movie, let's get out of our head for however long the movie is, I can't remember, and then go home. Like, we're not going to have these deep discussions about the traumas with it and whatnot and everything. To the original story. So like, I feel like these conversations they're just being had more now because that's where we're at now.
And more people have access to be able to be the critic and say their pieces. Where in the old days, a lot of people would read a review in a newspaper, which I don't know anybody who reads a newspaper anymore.
Oh, not anymore.
Aside from maybe my grandma, who's 96, she still reads a newspaper. But that's a different story.
Yeah,
I remember the Friday preview in the newspaper in high school, like junior year of high school, when Saw 2 came out.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, ooh, I got to read the movie reviews.
The movie reviews and the back of the newspaper. Yep. Oh, man. Those were the days.
Man, yeah.
I don't even think we have newspapers anymore because everything's just online. You don't need it. Yeah. There's no point.
I mean, there still are, but there's very few.
Yeah.
Like there's just not a whole lot. But many publications of that pursuit, they're all online. A lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how are we going to get to reach people the quickest? It's going to be online. That's a no-brainer. That's how most of the Disney movies were. They're very, very, very much focused on love and some sort of love, even if it's not like romantic. There's always something about love in all of these Disney movies, and it just feels like we're trying to tear that apart, especially in the newer ones. It's just like, let's not make it about love. Let's make it about, independence and whatever else.
Well, and the way that Disney was doing it in the Renaissance also is it's a purer form of love.
Yeah, exactly.
Like unadulterated, no strings attached. It's just a sweet love.
Yeah. Yep. Sweet and classic. But it's definitely changed. Hit them with it again.
Go ahead, Jess. Do it.
What? Like, oh God, the dogs are barking.
They're trying to say ew. Sonya, you do it.
Ew.
There you go. We just gained 50,000 subs.
Oh man. That's great.
You know, one thing I love about the Disney movie, especially the princess ones, is that the women have agency. They have brains. They're also feminine. And the men aren't complete idiots. They're also sweet and capable. And it's just like, this is what a good relationship should be. They should find each other because they're meant for each other.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
It's not just this dude's a dundering Mifflin head, and the girl is just, I don't need no man. It's like, go fuck off, bitch. That's why you're still single.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Tell 'em.
Ain't wrong.
Case in point.
Yay.
I'm just kidding. Jess is awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's awesome.
She my bestie.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, everyone. I think that about wraps it up for this episode. So, the lovely Sonya Lysette, everyone's favorite darling, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to talk about? Just let people know where you are.
Yeah, I have a Twitter or X, whatever it's called. I still call it Twitter. I still call it X. I'm trying to get the hang of it, but it's hard. You can follow me on Twitter at your_favorite_Dahlin, DAHLIN. I do have a YouTube channel. It's just my same name, Sonya Lysette. You can find me and subscribe there if you want to, but you don't have to because, you know, I don't really do a lot of content right now. I'm still learning the biz, but if you want to subscribe, great. Go check out my singing videos because I do a lot of singing and crafting and playing really, really old retro games. So that's what I'm about. That's what I like. I do. I will say go and support Camelot 331 if you haven't already. That's my boy. Go support Hypnotic. Go support the Shagsworth. There's so many different people that I want to say go support because that's just my main thing is supporting everybody. Support everybody on this panel. Obviously, you know, I'll come find you if you don't. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
So basically, The Little Mermaid is about giving up her amazing singing voice, and you sing, and you haven't sang for us once.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
You don't have
I'll
to
do it.
sing, girl.
I feel like I did a little. Didn't I? Definitely, there was something in there that was musical, and I went with it. Oh,
We'll take it.
It was Under the Sea. Yep, I remember.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Excellent, amazing. Yes, follow Sonya and follow those people. My boy Cammy is doing NASCAR races right now.
Yes.
Heck yeah, Hypnotic is killing it. There's just so many places. This is a great community.
Extremely. So many people. So many awesome people.
Jess, how many articles have you sold out the New York Times stand with?
What? I've probably only done maybe 12, 10. I don't know. Anyway,
Only
if you
12
want
in
to
a
read
month.
those articles, you can go to geeksandgamers.com because I'm a writer there. So yeah.
Woo! Hell yeah.
Love it. She does great content. Aside from these, you can always catch us late and gay with the GCA on Wednesday evenings at 8:30 Eastern Time. Until then, follow us. Follow Sonya. Follow everyone. Just follow them, but don't be a stalker. This is
Yep.
MaltyMaldy and Jessica Lindstrom. She's that way. With the GCA, thank you so much, Sonya. You're awesome.
Yeah.
And y'all have a great one.
Bye.
Goodbye.